doing to 7b, which is still solving proportions. So what you did on Friday was solving proportions. That was just cross multiplying, right? But there was just one number on top and one number on bottom on both of your ratios. Today is going to be a little different. There's going to be expressions in places instead of just a number. But it's the same idea, and it's all things you've done before, like the distributive property. You're going to do the distributive property a lot today. One thing I've noticed is that the distributive property, some of you aren't always distributing. Some of you are sometimes just doing the first number of the distributive property instead of distributing to both, which I will show you right now. But here's what you're going to start with. So this is like example 3 in the book because it's the second half of the lesson. And it looks like this. B minus 8 over 5. Oh my goodness, you guys, my baby is dancing right now. And B plus 3 over 4.
I saw that.
Do you see that? It's like doing a jig in there. Good night. Okay. So here's the deal. The division bar acts like parentheses, okay? So what we're going to do is when we cross multiply, we're going to put in those parentheses, right? So this division bar here is basically saying put parentheses there. This division bar here is basically saying put parentheses there, okay? That way when we cross multiply it, you will see the distributive property needs to take place, okay? So we're going to cross multiply, which means we're doing the bottom left times the top right, okay? So it's going to be 5, and then your parentheses, b plus 3. And then you bring your equal sign down, and then you cross multiply the other way. So we're going to multiply these two now, and it's going to be 4 times b minus 8. Okay? Now from here, you know how to do that problem, right? We've done this before. My concern is that you make sure you distribute to both because that's where some of you are making the mistake, okay? So talk me through this. What should I do first? You're going to distribute that 5 to the b, and you get 5b. Is it going to be plus or minus on this one? It's going to be plus. And then you're going to distribute that 5 to the 3, which is what? 15. I noticed on the quiz, was it the quiz or the test? Some of you were adding them instead of multiplying. Make sure you're multiplying those, okay? So 5 times 3 is 15. And then that equals, and now you're going to distribute over on the right. 4 times b is 4b, plus or minus? Minus, because this is subtraction, right? So minus, and then 4 times 8 is 32. So this is your new problem. There is not one correct step to do right now. There's multiple steps you could be doing right now. Can anyone tell me what maybe the most simple one would be? To take away the 4b, yeah. So take away 4b here. So that's gone, but then you got to do it on the other side. Make sure you're subtracting from the b's, right? Because they have to be like terms. So 5b minus 4b is 1b, or you could just call it b, okay? So 1b plus 15 equals, bring your equal sign down there. What's on the right side right now? A negative 32. You got to keep that negative sign with it. So negative 32. Okay? And now from here, it's a two-step equation. You're going to take away the 15 on both sides. Again, be careful with that because when you take away from a negative, you're adding them actually, right? So this is gone. You have b on the left. Bring your equal sign down. And then negative 32 minus 15 is a negative 47. Okay? So it's still cross multiplying. Basically, it's taking cross multiplying and multi-step equations and smacking them together. Okay? Questions so far? Okay. when you set up proportions, so how we had it in that first one, you need to make sure that your units stay the same in the numerator and your units stay the same in the denominator. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky sometimes, because what we did with unit analysis or dimensional analysis, remember what we just did, the examples I was doing for the homework where it was miles per hour to feet per second, we were trying to cancel them out, right? So we wanted one on top and one on bottom. That's not how it works with proportions. With proportions, you want the same things on top and the same things on bottom, okay? So here's what you're gonna do. If I did 100 miles, in 2 hours, and I wanted to know how many miles that was in 5 hours, you would put your hours on bottom and some number of miles on top, and you would cross multiply that, okay? So this is correct in your setup. This, 100 miles per 2 hours equals 5 hours for some number of miles. That is not correct, because now your miles are canceling out, your hours are canceling out. That's not what we want to do, okay? You want miles per hour to equal miles per hour, okay? So when it's a proportion, that should be our setup. Do you guys need to get up and dance for a little bit?
No.
Stand up and move around or something. I feel like half of you are in La La Land right now. Come back to me. Did you see that movie? That was a cute movie. It's a really cute movie. La La Land, I liked it. There's a lot of singing and dancing, yes.
Oh my gosh.
All right, here we go. Last type of example, and then I got one more example for you. This one says, if you have 2 gigabytes of storage, you can hold about 500 songs. Okay? There's a larger MP3 that has 80 gigabytes of storage.
That's a lot of storage.
We want to know how many songs can it hold. Okay, so it's a similar device. The one has 2 gigabytes and can hold 500 songs. The other has 80 gigabytes, and we want to know how many songs that one can hold. So what you're going to do is you're going to set it up as a proportion. So something over something equals something over something, okay, a proportion. If it's 2 gigabytes, we're going to put that on top. That can hold 500 songs. Okay? Where is the 80 going to go? Top or bottom?
Bottom.
Remember, we're not canceling here. With a proportion, they have to match up. Where's my gigabytes right now? On the top. So you need to put your gigabytes on the top. Okay? So 80 gigabytes is some number of songs. And if you don't know the number, put in a variable. Okay? So we'll call it X right now. So if this is my setup, how do I solve for the number of songs?
Do you do it the same way you did the first one?
You're going to cross multiply, right? So it's going to be 2 times X, don't worry about labels right now, equals 80 times 500. Okay, so if we simplify that, you get 2x equals 40,000. Okay, divide by 2, and x is 20,000. What does that mean? 20,000 what? 20,000 songs that 80 gigabyte device could hold. Okay, so your answer is 20,000 songs. Okay, hear me right now. Are you with me? Are you alive? Is your blood pumping? Okay, when it's a proportion is a ratio equals a ratio, right? When it's a proportion, You want gigabytes across from gigabytes, songs across from songs. When it's conversions, when we're trying to change it from one thing to another, that's when you cancel them out. Okay, that's when you go top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom for the same units. Does that make sense to you all? So a proportion like this, that needs to be gigabytes across from gigabytes, or inches across from inches, or miles across from miles. Okay? Okay, last problem, and then we're done. Let's say I give you n over 5 equals 2n plus 4 over 6. What do I do with that? Cross multiply. What do you get when you cross multiply it? 6 times n. Bring your equal sign down. What do you do with this one? Multiply. What do we need? You need your parentheses, right? 5 times 2n plus 4. Okay, what do I do first? Multiply what? Distribute, right? So multiply by distributing. So 5 times 2n is 10n, plus 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, from here you have options. A lot of times when you move the 6n over, people get a little confused because there's nothing left on the left, but that's okay. Okay, because when I take that 6n away, you get over here 6n minus 6n is 0 equals 4n plus 20, right? Now you can move that 20 over. So take away 20. What's 0 minus 20? Negative 20. So take your equal sign down. Negative 20 equals 4n, because this canceled. And then you divide by 4. What's negative 20 divided by 4? Negative 5. You totally can, but a lot of times I feel like people don't want to do that. But yes, you could have done, so if it was this, you could have done take away 10n. So you get negative 4n equals 20, and then divide by negative 4. So n equals negative 5. Either way, you're going to get negative 5. This way is actually quicker, but I feel like more people try to do it this other way. So you can do either. They're both going to get you there. All right. And you guys know our block days are switched this week, right? So I will see you on Thursday instead of Friday. And you guys have on Thursday a quiz over 2.6 and 2.7. So everything I've taught you, 2.6 and 2.7 up to this point, is what your quiz will be over, which means that like dimensional analysis, unit conversion stuff, if you're struggling with that, you need to come sit down and talk to me so we can go over those things, okay? Don't be bashful. I would love to help.